Do you remember when the UK stepped into a new era of currency and left the old pennies behind? The year was 1971, and in your pocket might have been a shiny new coin that didn't just look different. It marked the birth of modern British money. The one new penny wasn't just small change. It was a symbol of national transition, of a Britain redefining itself post-empire, post-war, and post-decimalization. Today, we're unlocking the hidden history and surprising value of this humble copper piece that once jingled in millions of pockets, but now whispers stories of a changing world. Collectors today look at the 1971 one new penny as a cornerstone of the decimal coinage series for Great Britain, not only because it was the first year of issue, but also because it represents a turning point in British numismatic history. Its historical context connects to wider social and economic movements in Britain, including the country's entry into the European Economic Community in the early 70s, changes in labor markets, and the evolution of the monarchy's image in the modern era. For numismatists, it is often collected in mint sets, proof sets, and even circulated condition, depending on the specific preferences and interests of collectors around the world. The coin's availability in various grades means that even today it remains an accessible item for entry-level collectors while still offering depth and significance for seasoned numismatists who specialize in British coinage. The mintage figures for the 1971 one new penny were high, with hundreds of millions struck by the Royal Mint, which makes circulated examples common yet uncirculated coins, especially those in proof condition with original luster, still command interest and value in the coin collecting community. These proofs were often included in commemorative decimal coin sets issued in presentation packs and continue to trade among collectors with steady demand. Its simplicity in design does not take away from its symbolic power, and its wide distribution helped to educate a population that had known only one monetary system for centuries. This coin is not merely a piece of bronze. It is a cultural artifact that speaks to a time of change, adaptation, and forward movement in British society. The decimalization movement itself was part of a global trend that saw countries around the world shift toward easier to understand monetary systems, and Britain's one new penny fits squarely into that international story. Today, many people remember this coin not just for its role in commerce, but for what it meant in terms of everyday life. Stories from that era include tales of confusion at the shop counter, grandmothers saving the first decimal coins for their grandchildren, and schoolteachers trying to explain the new math of decimals with coin charts and visual aids across generations. The one new penny has gone from a practical necessity to a cherished memory, and now to a collector's item, and this journey is a story of human adjustment, resilience, and the evolution of national identity expressed through something as simple and small as a coin. This coin also holds importance in the timeline of Queen Elizabeth II's reign, as her image on the obverse represents one of the longest reigning monarchs in world history, and during her reign, multiple shifts occurred not just in politics and economy, but in the visual representation of power and continuity. Her portrait on the one new penny reflects a young queen leading a nation into a new era. The very idea of placing her on such a widely distributed item served to this coin also holds importance in the timeline of Queen Elizabeth II's reign, as her image on the obverse represents one of the longest reigning monarchs in world history, and during her reign, multiple shifts occurred, not just in politics and economy, but in the visual representation of power and continuity. Her portrait on the one new penny reflects a young queen leading a nation into a new era. The very idea of placing her on such a widely distributed item served to reinforce both national unity and respect for tradition at a time when society was undergoing major transformation. When we look at the one new penny today, we are reminded of the power of design, history, education, and public policy all wrapped into a small circular object. It teaches us that coins are not just a medium of exchange. They are storytellers, silent carriers of national memory and windows into the lives of people who held them, used them, saved them, and eventually passed them on through the years. Whether you are a collector, historian, or simply someone with a love for British heritage, the 1971 new penny remains a treasure worth revisiting, understanding, and preserving for future generations. Now, let's explore the historical background of 1989 and its relevance to the coin world in this year. Margaret Thatcher was serving as Prime Minister, and Great Britain was undergoing numerous economic and social changes. Privatization and deregulation were changing the business landscape while the Cold War was winding down around the world. Domestically, the British economy was shifting towards service-based industries, and the average citizen was adjusting to these new economic realities. The 1989 one new penny represents this transitional period in its own quiet way, silently passing through the hands of shoppers, bus conductors, and market vendors across the country. Collectors find value in this coin not only in its monetary form, but in the story it tells. It is a common coin in terms of mintage, but uncommon in the memories it revives. Many remember using it in vending machines, in sweet shops, or stacking them for school lunches. Some coins even display interesting patinas over time, giving them a unique character. Each coin tells a story of touch, travel, and transaction. In the world of numismatics, the 1989 new penny has become a collectible not because it is rare in quantity, but because it represents a turning point. By the early 90s, coinage was beginning to modernize further, and the older bronze coins were slowly being withdrawn and replaced with copper-plated steel due to rising metal costs. By 1992, the composition of the penny had changed entirely, making the 1989 penny one of the last full bronze issues, and this alone gives it a place of distinction in coin history. Grading is a crucial aspect in determining the coin's market value. Coins in circulated condition are generally worth face value, but uncirculated coins, or those preserved in mint sets, may command prices from $1 to $5 or more, depending on grade, condition, and demand. Some collectors seek specific years to complete sets. Others are interested in coins with errors or die varieties. Occasionally errors do appear in the 1989 one new penny, although they are not common. Examples include weak strikes, misaligned dies, and clipped planchets, which can increase collector interest significantly. In auctions, error coins can sell for $10 to $50 or more, especially if verified by a grading service. Culturally, this coin connects collectors not just to the economy, but to Queen Elizabeth's long and storied reign, spanning decades of change. The Raphael Makhlouf portrait has a distinct charm, capturing the monarch in her prime, and is deeply embedded in the memory of those who use these coins regularly. It's more than a coin, it's a pocket-sized time capsule reflecting British values and heritage. Today, coin enthusiasts around the world, especially in the United States, Canada, Australia, and former Commonwealth nations, find fascination in British coinage. The 1989 one new penny is readily available online, at fairs, and in private collections. It serves as a perfect entry point for new collectors and a nostalgic piece for seasoned numismatists. Whether you are collecting for fun, for investment, or for educational purposes, this coin has a little something for everyone. It is affordable, easy to store, and rich in history, from its political backdrop to its metallurgical content, from its beautiful designs to its journey through decades of daily life. The 1989 one new penny is undeniably worthy of your collection. Outro. So next time you come across a simple old British penny from 1989, remember, it's not just a coin. It's a storyteller, a timekeeper, and a reminder of the way things were in a rapidly changing world. And here at LC Coins World, we'll always be here to unlock the stories behind the coins you once held, and the treasures you may not even know you have. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe, like, and comment below with your coin finds and stories. And until next time, keep collecting and keep history alive. one coin at a time. Today, we explore the rich and detailed history of the one new penny coin issued in the year 2000 under the reign of Queen Elizabeth II in Great Britain. This small copper-plated steel coin carries more than just monetary value. It holds within its design and legacy a fascinating story of tradition, national identity, coinage reform, and the quiet evolution of modern British money. Let us go back to the roots. The origin of the new penny starts not in 2000, but several decades earlier, when Britain undertook one of the biggest transformations in its monetary history. This event, known as decimalization, occurred on February 15, 1971. It was on this day that the country moved from the centuries-old system of pounds, shillings, and pence to a more simplified base 10 system. The old pennies and halfpennies were phased out and replaced with coins that made sense in a decimal system, and among those was the one new penny. The first one new penny coins were struck in bronze and were introduced in 1971, bearing the portrait of a young Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Arnold Machin. The reverse of the coin, designed by Christopher Ironside, displayed the badge of the Prince of Wales, a plume of ostrich feathers within, a coronet with the motto Ich dien beneath, which means I serve. The coin measured 20.3 millimeters in diameter and weighed 3.56 grams. It was a symbol of the modernization of the British monetary system and a key part of daily life for millions of Britons. As time passed, changes continued. In 1982, the denomination was officially changed from new penny to simply one penny to reflect the fact that the decimal system was now widely adopted and familiar to the public. However, the design retained its core visual elements and continued to circulate in large quantities. In 1992, a major change occurred. The composition of the penny was altered from bronze to copper-plated steel. This was done for cost reasons, as the price of copper had risen significantly and minting billions of coins in bronze was no longer economical. The copper-plated steel gave the coins a slightly magnetic property which distinguishes them from the earlier issues. Now, coming specifically to the year 2000, the one penny coin struck that year is part of this long evolutionary timeline. By this time, the coin was made from copper-plated steel, had the updated inscription of one penny, and featured the fourth official portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Ian Rank Broadley. This portrait, introduced in 1998, depicted the Queen with more realism and maturity and remained on coins until 2015. It shows her wearing the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara, gift from her grandmother, Queen Mary. The image reflects a confident and reigning monarch, and is instantly recognizable across the world. Collectors value the one penny 2000 coin in uncirculated condition, particularly those struck in proof sets or brilliant uncirculated packs. The Royal Mint issued special collector's editions, and these coins often show a level of detail and finish far superior to the regular circulated versions. The reflective surfaces, the precise edges, and the depth of the designs on these proof coins make them highly desirable for numismatists who focus on modern British currency. There are also errors and varieties that make the one penny 2000 coin more appealing. Some known errors include off-center strikes, double strikes, weak strikes, or issues in the copper plating that cause discoloration or flaking. While these are not extremely common, they add a level of rarity and intrigue for those who like to hunt for unusual or unique coins in bulk lots or circulation. Beyond physical and design elements, the coin carries cultural significance. It is a piece of history that tells us about the era of Queen Elizabeth II, the transition into the modern age, and the identity of Britain itself. Through coinage, we understand the artistic preferences, the technological capabilities, and the political statements of a country. And the one penny coin, though small in size, is large in meaning. It has been handled by millions of people, exchanged in shops, left in change jars used in games, given as lucky charms, and even featured in art projects. It has traveled through time in pockets and purses, reminding us that even the smallest denomination can have great value when seen through the lens of history and heritage. As we explore more coins like this on LC Coins World, remember that each coin has a story. Each date, each mint mark, each detail reveals something about the world it came from. The one new penny 2000 is more than a coin, it is a timeline in metal, a reflection of society, a tribute to the longest reigning monarch at the time, and a powerful collectible for those who understand its full significance. Thank you for joining me in this deep dive, and stay tuned as we continue exploring the coins that shaped our world and continue to fascinate generations of collectors, where we journey through time one coin at a time. Today, we take a deep dive into the fascinating history of the one new penny coin issued by Great Britain in 1971 under the reign of Queen Elizabeth II. This coin represents not just a change in currency, but a significant cultural and historical transition for the United Kingdom as it moved from the old pounds, shillings and pence system to a decimalized form of money. The one new penny was introduced on February 15, 1971, which was the official day that Britain switched to decimal currency known as Decimal Day. This coin became a symbol of modernization in British society, and its production reflects both the technological advancements in minting and the economic shifts occurring during that time. The coin features the second crown portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Arnold Machen, which had already been used on British coinage since 1968 and became one of the most reproduced images of the monarch. The reverse side of the coin was designed by Christopher Ironside and features a crown portcullis with chains, a design long associated with the British Parliament and historically with the Tudor period, giving the coin a deep connection to British political history. Minted in bronze and weighing 3.56 grams, with a diameter of 20.3 millimeters. The one new penny was part of the early wave of coins created for the new decimal system. Its brownish hue and simple yet elegant design made it easily distinguishable from the coins of the pre-decimal era, which had been circulating for centuries. Before the transition, although it was a low-denomination coin, its introduction marked a complete transformation of how money was counted, understood, and transacted across the United Kingdom. The public had to be educated through posters, TV advertisements, and classroom materials on how to use the new system, and the one new penny played a central role in this educational effort. It became a familiar sight in the hands of market traders, schoolchildren, pensioners, and bus conductors throughout the UK. During the early years after its release, the coin remained in heavy circulation and its acceptance grew steadily. However, despite its practical utility, the coin also became a point of nostalgia for many Britons, especially those who had grown up using the older system of 12 pence to a shilling and 20 shillings to a pound. As years passed and further reforms in coinage continued, the one new penny coin was eventually demonetized in December 1984 and replaced with the smaller version simply called one penny, which continued to carry similar imagery, but with updated sizing to reflect modern coin handling standards, where we explore the timeless journey of coins from where we journey through time one coin at a time. Today, we take a deep dive into the long and fascinating history behind the one new penny coin of Great Britain from the year 2004, a coin that not only reflects centuries of royal legacy and economic transformation, but also carries hidden stories of design, power, value, and tradition. This coin, though modern at first glance, actually represents a continuation of a legacy that began long before Queen Elizabeth II even ascended the throne. To understand the 2004 one new penny, we first need to travel back to the late 1960s, when the United Kingdom was preparing to switch from its old currency system of pounds, shillings, and pence to a decimalized system that would bring the British economy in line with much of the modern world at that time. 1 pound consisted of 240 pence, making everyday transactions complicated and often confusing for average citizens and tourists alike. In 1968, the British government announced Plans to officially decimalize the currency system, a move that would culminate on February 15, 1971, a day remembered in numismatic history as Decimal Day. With this monumental shift came a new lineup of coins, including the half penny, 1 penny, 2 pence, and 5 pence denominations, among others. To distinguish them from the older coinage, the new coins were inscribed with the word new before their denominations, hence the name, 1 new penny. Fast forward to 2004, the 1 new penny coin was still being produced, although by that time the word new had technically been dropped from circulation. Coinage. The piece minted in 2004 still carried the traditional reverse design featuring a crown portcullis with chains, which is a design historically associated with the Palace of Westminster and the British Parliament. It symbolizes governance, strength, and institutional integrity, and was originally chosen by Christopher Ironside, the designer of many of the early decimal coins. Now, let's talk about the obverse, the front of the coin, which features the fourth portrait of Queen Elizabeth II. This image was designed by Ian Rank Broadley and was introduced in 1998. It depicts Her Majesty wearing the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara and was notable for its more realistic representation compared to the previous stylized portraits. Rank Broadley believed that age should not be disguised, and this portrait shows the Queen with maturity and grace, a move that resonated with many collectors and the public alike. The 1 new penny coin from 2004 was struck in copper-plated steel due to rising metal costs, replacing the earlier bronze versions that had been minted since 1971. The use of steel with copper plating gave the coin a slightly different weight and feel, but kept the iconic reddish tone that penny coins are known for. It has a diameter of 20.3 millimeters and weighs about 3.56 grams. The coin's edge is plain, which is standard for 1 penny coins in the UK. Even though the coin was produced in large quantities, it holds value not just as a currency piece, but also as a cultural artifact. By 2004, the UK was over 30 years into its decimal currency system, and many of the people who had once used pre-decimal coins had already adapted fully to the new system. But even as technology and banking moved toward credit cards and digital payments, the physical coins still remained deeply embedded in daily life, from vending machines to charity boxes and from grocery stores to pub counters. Collectors often seek 1 penny coins like the 2004 version not for rarity, but for completeness of their decimal coin collections. These coins represent a stable era in British coinage, just before major changes began again with the introduction of new reverse designs under the Royal Shield series, which would come out in 2008. The 2004 1 penny stands at the edge of this transition, marking the final years of an era that began in the 1970s. There are also error coins that come from the 2004 batch, which makes this particular year worth looking at more closely. Some rare examples may include off-center strikes, planchet flaws, or even double die errors. Though uncommon, when found, these can significantly increase the value of what appears to be an ordinary copper coin. Some uncirculated specimens in mint condition are held in brilliant, uncirculated sets or proof sets released by the Royal Mint, and are of special interest to dedicated numismatists. In terms of value, the 2004 1 penny coin is not typically worth more than its face value in circulated condition. However, its true value lies in its connection to the British monarchy, to the legislative history of Parliament, to the life of Queen Elizabeth II, and to the broader cultural memory of the early 2000s in the United Kingdom. This coin has traveled in pockets of citizens across England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. It may have changed hands at markets, schools, train stations, and tea shops. It is part of the daily life of a generation that still remembers life before smartphones, social media, and digital banking. The 2004 1 penny may seem small and ordinary, but it represents continuity and the tangible reality of a modern monarchy in an evolving world. As we examine the coin up close, we are reminded of how something as simple as a penny can be a time capsule. In 2004, Britain was experiencing its own share of global events. The world was still feeling the effects of 9/11s. The wars in Iraq and Afghanistan were ongoing, and the European Union was expanding. Queen Elizabeth II was still decades into her reign, representing calm and consistency while the world moved forward. This coin witnessed the spending habits of a generation that still valued cash in hand. It passed through the tills of bookstores, gas stations, bakeries, and cinemas. It paid for snacks, newspapers, train fares, and sometimes was simply left behind in a tip jar or donation box. These small acts collectively add to the when we hold the 2004 penny in our hand, we are connecting with a specific moment in time, nation. Both looking back and stepping forward, it was a year before the introduction of chip and PIN cards, and a time when coins were still a dominant part of everyday life. In many ways, this coin is the last chapter of traditional British coinage before major changes and modern designs took over. Today, the 1 penny coin still circulates, though many are slowly being phased out of regular use due to digital transactions and inflation. Some countries have even begun eliminating their lowest denomination coins, but in the UK, the penny still survives. For collectors, the 2004 version offers a clean design, a royal portrait that captures a sovereign in her mature strength, and a reverse emblem that ties it directly to British parliamentary history. Whether you are building a full collection of Elizabeth II coins, collecting decimal coins from every year, or simply preserving a piece of your own childhood, the 2004 1 penny coin is a worthy addition. As we wrap up this deep dive into the 2004 1 penny coin, remember that coins are more than metal. They are messages. They are memory holders, and they are storytellers. Every scratch on the surface, every fingerprint it has picked up is part of its legacy. Thanks for watching LC Coins World. If you have one of these coins, let us know in the comments. And if you learned something new today, be sure to like, share, and subscribe so we can keep bringing the stories of history to your screen, one coin at a time.